Every single day across the world, 1 billion meals of perfectly good food are thrown in the garbage. At the same time, right now, as you listen to this, 783 million people are going to sleep hungry tonight. And here is the most interesting part. Thousands of years ago, there was a goddess who warned us about this. A goddess who made even Lord Shiva, the destroyer of universe, stand in line with an empty bowl in his hand asking for food. Today, I am going to tell you her story, and I promise you, by the end of this video, the way you look at the food on your plate will never ever be the same again. Namaste everyone and welcome back to Prachin Bharath podcast. In today's episode, we will be talking about Mata Annapurna. If you are new to our channel, then I request you to subscribe to our channel because we will be recording videos on Hindu spirituality, mythology and Sanatan Dharma. So without further ado, let's get started. Before I tell you the story, let me decode her name, Annapurna. This name has two Sanskrit words hidden inside it. Anna, which means food, grains, nourishment, and Purna, which means complete, full, perfect. So, Annapurna literally means the one who is completely full of food or the one who provides complete, perfect nourishment. But here's what most people don't realize. She is not just any goddess, she is goddess Parvati herself, the wife of Lord Shiva, the mother of Lord Ganesh and Kartikeya, taking a very specific form for a very specific reason. And that reason begins with the game, a game of dice. One day on Mount Kailash, Lord Shiva and Goddess Parvati were playing a game. A simple game of dice. Now, this story comes from the Skanda Purana, one of the great 18 major Puranas, chapter 34 of the Kedar Khanda to be exact. In this game, both of them started betting. First, Mata Parvati put her jewels, Shiva put his trident, and Lord Shiva lost. Then Lord Shiva bet his snake, his Damru, and his Rudraksh, and he kept losing every game. Finally, Lord Shiva lost everything, even his begging bowl. Now imagine this scene for a moment. The great Mahadev, the Lord of the universe, sitting there without anything. But this is where the real story begins. After losing everything, Lord Shiva said something that changed everything. He said, Devi, why are you so attached to these material things? Don't you understand? This entire world is Maya, an illusion. Everything you see around you, these jewels, this food, this body, it's all temporary. None of this is real. Now, from a spiritual perspective, Lord Shiva was right. He is a great yogi. He can meditate for thousands of years without food or water. But Mata Parvati, she saw something he was missing. She looked at him and said, If everything is just an illusion, if food is just Maya, then tell me this. Why do your devotees perform pujas? Why do they offer bhog? Why do the rishis eat fruits and roots in the forest? Why do you need a begging bowl? Lord Shiva had no answer. And then Mata Parvati said something powerful. If food is just an illusion, then I am also illusion. Because I am Prakriti, I am nature. I am the Shakti that sustains this entire creation. And then she just vanished. The moment Goddess Parvati disappeared, everything stopped. The sun still rose but gave no warmth. Clouds gathered but gave no rain. Seeds were planted but nothing grew. The entire earth became dry, barren, and lifeless. Animals started dying, plants were withered, rivers began to dry up, and humans they started starving. Days passed, then weeks, then months. Terrible hunger spread across all the three worlds earth, heaven, and netherworld. Even the gods, even Indra in his golden palace started feeling weak. But here is the truth that Lord Shiva realized too late. Without Shakti, without feminine energy, without Mata Parvati, nothing can exist. She is not just Lord Shiva's wife. She is the power that makes creation possible. She is the energy in your food that becomes your body. She is the force that turns a tiny seed into a giant tree. And when she withdrew that energy, even the great Lord Shiva understood that he made a terrible mistake. But Parvati is not just any goddess, she is the universal mother. She is Maa. She could not bear to see her children suffering, so she came back. She didn't return to Kailash, she didn't go to her palace. She went to Kashi, the ancient city we now call Varanasi. And there, on the banks of the holy Ganga, she set up a simple kitchen. Picture this scene for a moment. The greatest goddess, the queen of the universe, standing there with the golden pot full of kheer, a sweet rice pudding in one hand, and a jeweled golden ladle in the other. And she started serving food to everyone. The hungry came, she fed, the poor came, she fed, the sick, the old, the forgotten, she fed them all. No questions asked, no conditions, no discriminations. Just a mother feeding her children. And news of this kitchen spread across all the worlds. Soon, even the gods started coming to Kashi. And then one day, Lord Shiva himself arrived. The great Mahadev, the destroyer of the world, the Lord of the universe, standing in line with an empty bowl in his hand, waiting for food. Think about this for a second. The most powerful god in Hindu Trinity admitting he was wrong by standing in a line like everyone else. When Shiva reached the front of the line, he looked at Mata Parvati, now in the form of Annapurna, and he understood everything. He understood that the spiritual and the material are not separate. He understood that you cannot seek moksha, liberation, on an empty stomach. He understood that food is not Maya, food is life. And in that moment of realization, Shiva composed a prayer. A prayer that great Saint Adi Shankaracharya later included in his famous Annapurna Ashtakam. Annapurne Sadapurne Shankar Prana Vallabe Jnana Vairagya Siddhyartham Bhiksham Dehi Cha Parvati, which means, O Mata Annapurna, you who are always full, you who are the very life force of Lord Shiva, for the attainment of knowledge and detachment, please give me food, O Mata Parvati. Notice what Lord Shiva is asking for. Not just food for the body, but knowledge for mind and vairagya, that is detachment for the soul. Because Annapurna doesn't just fill your stomach, she nourishes your entire being, your body, your mind, your spirit. That's why she is called Purna, complete. And when Mata Parvati heard this prayer, she smiled, and with her own hands she filled Lord Shiva's bowl. In that moment, the balance was restored. The rains returned, plants started growing again, life came back to the universe, and from that day forward, Parvati has been worshipped as Maa Annapurna, the goddess of food and nourishment. Now, if you ever visit Varanasi, the holiest city in Hinduism, you must visit the Annapurna Devi temple. It sits just 15 meters away from the famous Kashi Vishwanath temple. This temple was built in 1729 by Maratha Peshwa Baji Rao, and it holds two secrets. Inside this temple there are two idols of goddess. One is made of brass. This is the idol you see when you visit any normal day. But there is another idol made of pure solid gold. This golden idol is shown to the public only once a year, on the day of Annakut, one day after Diwali. On that day, mountains of food, fruits, sweets, grains are piled before the goddess. It's an incredible sight, and coins are distributed to all devotees. People believe that if you worship these coins, you will never face shortage of food in your entire life. But here is what I find most beautiful about this temple. Every single day at noon, prasad is distributed to anyone who comes. The elderly, the disabled, the poor, the rich, everyone eats together. This tradition has continued for almost 300 years because that is the message of Mata Annapurna. No one should go hungry ever. Now I wanted to tell you a story that most people don't know, a true story. In 1913, a Canadian man named Norman Mackenzie visited India. He was a lawyer and art collector. While in Varanasi, he saw a beautiful idol of goddess at a shrine by Ganga river, and he wanted it, and someone stole it for him. That idol was of Maa Annapurna. For the next 108 years, she sat in the museum in Canada at the Mackenzie Art Gallery in Regina. Nobody even knew she was Mata Annapurna. The museum had labeled her as Lord Vishnu. Then in 2020, an Indian origin artist named Divya Mehra was preparing an exhibition at that gallery. She looked at this idol and noticed something. This wasn't a male figure, this was a female figure, and she was holding a bowl of rice and spoon. Divya did her research and she found the records and she discovered the truth. This was a stolen idol of goddess Annapurna taken from an active shrine in Varanasi over a century ago. When the University of Regina found out, they decided to return the idol to her. And on November 15, 2021, after 108 years of exile, Maa Annapurna came home. She was brought from Delhi to Varanasi in a grand 4-day procession through 18 districts of Uttar Pradesh, and Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath carried her palanquin on his shoulder, and she was installed at the Kashi Vishwanath corridor just meters away from where she was stolen. 108 years, that's how long it took for the goddess to return to her home. And I find deep meaning in this. Even when we forget our heritage, even when others try to take it away, the Divine Mother finds her way back to her children. Now, let me bring this back to where we started. 1 billion meals wasted every day. 783 million people going hungry. The United Nations released a report in 2024. Let me share some numbers that will shock you. Every year, humanity wastes over $1 trillion worth of food. This waste food creates 8 to 10% of all greenhouse gases, almost 5 times more than the entire aviation industry. And here's the most painful part. The food we throw every single day is enough to feed 1.3 meals to every hungry person on earth. We are not lacking food. We are lacking respect for food. And this is exactly what Goddess Annapurna tried to teach us thousands of years ago. Food is not Maya. Food is sacred. Food is life itself. When you waste food, you are not just throwing away any rice or vegetables. You are throwing away the farmer's sweat. You are throwing away the rain that fell from clouds. You are throwing away the sun's energy that made the plants grow. You are throwing away the blessings of Maa Annapurna herself. And in Hindu tradition, before eating food, we say a prayer. We offer the food first to God. We acknowledge that food is Brahman, the ultimate reality itself. So, my dear friends, Goddess Annapurna's story is not just a mythology, it's a fact for living. It teaches us that spiritual and material worlds are not separate, they are one. It teaches us that the food is not just fuel, it is a blessing that must be respected. It teaches us that even the greatest beings need nourishments, and there is no shame in that. So, here is my humble request to you. From today, before you eat your next meal, just pause for a second. Look at the food, remember where it came from, remember all the hands that brought it to your plate, and silently say thank you to the universe, to the nature, and to Maa Annapurna. If you do this, I promise you, food will taste different, life will feel different, because gratitude is the most powerful prayer. If this story touched your heart, if you learned something new today, then please like this video. It genuinely helps the channel to grow. Subscribe and press the bell icon so you don't miss future episodes as well. And share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. Until next time, may Maa Annapurna bless you with abundance in every area of your life. Not just food, but health, wisdom and inner peace. And remember, never waste food, never disrespect food. And if you can, never let anyone go hungry. This is the true worship of Annapurna. Jai Maa Annapurna.